For I beheld Satan as he fell from heaven like lightning. Oh, Raul Julia was inhaling and devouring every single scene he was in. He was having a fucking goddamn blast, despite the fact he was dealing with a terminal illness. I will never understand how he managed to deliver such a hammy, campy, tremendous performance going through all that pain. What a fucking actor he was, and what a great way to go out. What a great gift for his children. Salute to Raul Julia. I'm John Rentham with the retro review of Street Fighter from 1994, and oh boy, the Capcom video game series gets the big screen treatment, and boy, there's a lot of shit to dive into on this one. You can check out interviews with the director and other cast members, because this was a bit of a troubled production, mainly because of Jean-Claude Van Damme, who was dealing with substance abuse issues like alcoholism and also cocaine, going through reportedly $10,000 worth of cocaine a week. And you could tell he had the coke sweats during this. Now, granted, addiction is a disease, and I hope that he somehow managed to get over that, but it was also ego. He felt that he was a big goddamn star and deserved quite a bit of money. If I recall right, he was the highest paid actor on this goddamn cast. And I get it because of, like, you know, the movies he had done up to that point. He had done stuff like Universal Soldier. He actually had a decent, you know, amount of movies in the 90s, the mid to later 90s especially, that weren't all that bad. Some of them were kind of samey. Time Cop came out in the same year. And he was a pretty big name actor for a while. Now he just looks like a Shar-Pei puppy if they took out all the Botox and everything, but I digress. This movie was a fucking ridiculous, campy blast that didn't get everything right about the video games. I would argue it got actually less right than the first Mortal Kombat movie did. Yeah, there were some cool character like homages, hominage, but some of the stuff like Blanca looked fucking ridiculous. They had to kind of make concessions as far as like the budget and production and everything, but whoo boy, some of these ideas should have been left in the draft. So, just left on the cutting room floor, whatever. This was written and directed by Stephen A. D'Souza, who wrote Die Hard, Commando, and 48 Hours. And unfortunately, this was the biggest movie that he ended up doing. I think he did some TV movies. I think he's done a couple after that. But he's mostly known as a writer. So yeah, you have Jean-Claude Van Damme as Colonel Guile, and you have M. Bison, played by Raul Julia, hamming it up spectacularly. It is amazing and just astonishing. He had some form of stomach cancer, and ended up being terminal. He died shortly after production wrapped on this, or at least sometime after production wrapped. And they did put a thing for the credits, Vaya con Dios, rest in peace, Raul Julia. He was Puerto Rican, so they did it in the proper language. That was really touching at the end credits. Chun-Li, played by Ming-Na Wen, who was 30 when this came out. And then you see her in Prom Night in 2008 in that small role. And then you see her in Freaks. They came out in 2018, 2019. The whole point is she has not aged a goddamn bit. She's either an immortal or whatever. She is fucking hot as hell. I don't care if she's approaching 60. I would, and you would too. And so Kylie Minogue played Cammy. Kylie Minogue also still looks great. Fun fact, Jean-Claude Van Damme apparently had an affair with Kylie on set. I mean, whatever. Like, why? Whatever, it is what it is. They had characters like Ken, Ryu, Dalsim, Zangief, Balrog, who was who was a boxer that got to do like a couple things. That's about it. Blanca, who was a genetic experiment for some reason. DJ, who was very Jamaican and also not in the movie very much. T-Hawk, who was reduced to being a Buffalo Soldier, showing the heart of America. Captain Sawada and Vega, and also Sagat, however you want to say it, who kind of looked like Edward James almost if you just made him bald. So if you are not familiar with the Street Fighter video games, none of those names mean anything to you. If you are familiar with them, you were probably kind of insulted by some of this. Don't get me wrong, it was better than the Super Mario Brothers video game movie that came out the year prior. It was leagues better than the Double Dragon movie that I did retro review last year in 2020. I retro reviewed it at some point. It was fun, and they had a lot of explosions and a lot of stuff, and the characters got to do some stuff like, or the actors got to do some stuff like the video game characters they were portraying. But oh boy, outside of some hammy acting from Raul Julia, Jean-Claude Van Damme was atrocious in this. Not that he's a great actor anyway, but he was just phoning it in. His accent was almost impossible to understand. You could understand Raul Julia more than you could Jean-Claude Van Damme, probably because of the aforementioned alcoholism and coke binges. So, yeah, this recounting the plot's kind of ridiculous. Commander Guile, or Colonel Guile rather, is leading the resistance at the Allied nations. He's trying to take down M. Bison and Shadaloo, and at least they didn't try to make him Irish like they did with Neil McDonough, or however you say his last name, in Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li, that I may also retro review at some point. Probably not anytime soon, because that movie was particularly dog shit, and somehow less true to the source material compared to this one. This at least tried to have a little bit of accuracy towards video games. But anyway, he's leading against M. Bison, who's captured a bunch of people in his domain, $20 billion, and he's holding them in this little cell area where they're eating. He's got all these soldiers. Zangief's one of his soldiers. Russian dummy, you big dumb dummy. And then Vega with the guy with the mask and the claws on his hands, just in case you don't know anything about the video games. Then you can figure out who he is. Everybody just comes together, and there's double crosses and all this stuff and everything, and it's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous, but it's fun, obviously. Otherwise, I wouldn't have bothered to revisit it. I will be retro-reviewing some other video game movies, like Alone in the Dark and House of the Dead, because I absolutely hate myself. This, however, was pretty fun. I again do not care that Ming-Na Wen is almost 60, still would. Ryu and Ken, they finally get gear that looks similar to what, they end up wearing, sort of. It's kind of funny that this is based on a video game. They made this movie, and then they made a movie version, or a video game version of this movie, where they were supposed to be like, motion captured types, and it was really, really bad. It was really atrocious. Vega, the guy kind of looks like they took him off of a telenovela, in all honesty. And have you seen Guile? He's about this tall. Seen Guile? Yeah, I had to do that one right there. And Kylie, just goddamn Kylie Minogue. Whew. Maybe not the best actor, maybe not the best actress, maybe not the best singer. Fucking hot as hell. And she has enthusiasm. And apparently she was a joy to deal with. And Raul Julia, despite traveling to do another movie, and he had his family with him since he had terminal cancer at this point, was apparently a treat to work with. Van Damme less so. So, Charlie is a friend of Guile's. He's captured in this skirmish and then turned into Blanca. And then there's Dr. Dalsim, who eventually ends up, the bald guy with the stretchy arms and everything. Whoop, 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 whoop. Yep, he does the stretchy. Ow. Really shouldn't try to kick while sitting. And Guile is killed in action, and people say, I bet you're happy, Bison. On the contrary, I mourn. Every bit of dialogue from Raul Julia was just dripping in campiness, but he made the most of it. I am not knocking. This is Jeremy Irons level of just, this source material shit, don't get me wrong, Dungeons and Dragons rather, was way, way worse than this. But good God, when you have campy material, you want to leave a legacy for your kids and you want to have fun, might as well. And plus, you're playing a guy called M. Bison that flies around and hits people and everything and has electrical stuff in him and does all this stuff and all this cheesy dialogue. And at one point, Ken is distracted and, follows Ming-Na when she beats him up. I wish it was me. It should have been me. So, at one point, Guile's trying to, get the soldiers together and everything, and says, okay, we have to take this one thing undetected and do this. It'll be a small amphibious force, and it's picture Street Fighter Frog, Street Frogger. Now I demand to see somebody mod that. It can't be any worse than the recent renditions of Frogger. And Van Damme tries to do the puns. This one guy tries to get him to stop the operation. We're gonna do that. We're gonna negotiate with him. He's like, you're gonna do this instead of obeying us. If you lost your mind, no, you've lost your balls. How could you not laugh at this? I mean, it's so bad. It's so fucking bad. Oh, the Chun-Li outfit were sweet Jesus. Sorry, I hate to gush over Ming-Na Wen, except I don't. That sounded less dirty in my head. But she talks about how her dad led a resistance and M. Bison's forces were pushed back by farmers and pitchforks, but he was shot from like yards away, like 1,000 yards away and everything, in the back, like a coward, like M. Bison. And he says, well, for you, the day Bison graced your village, it was the most important day of your life. For me, it was Tuesday. Just having fun, having a goddamn teetotal blast. And he says, oh, I know women and you're harmless. That's why I want you to think. Breaks the handcuffs, beats him up again. I wish that was me. And then everybody gets attacked. E. Honda, by the way, is just a Samoan driver for whatever reason. And Balrog's a boxer that barely does anything. Zangief's an idiot. Sagat, Sagat, I suppose is how it would be said, since he's not Bob Saget, even though his dialogue was about as hilarious. He's the guy with the eye patch. It's like these crime lords are trying to do all this stuff, and everybody just does stuff, and characters eventually just start blowing shit up. Because Blanca gets freed, Dalsim had done enough stuff where he contained the capacity to remain good, but also remain evil, because he had all these images assaulted in his head. And then they just decide, let's just blow shit up. M. Bison, has the arcade board thing and is doing this and blows up the stealth boat right there with a whole bunch of minesweeper stuff. Where did he get all these mines that just do this stuff? And he does it, he blows it up. Game over! Ow. Can't imagine that M. Bison, or that Raul Julia didn't need a lot of water after doing lines like that. But anyway, everybody eventually changes kind of into the characters they were going to change into. I think implying we were going to make a sequel, or they were going to make a sequel. And, well, I think it did okay at the box office. I don't think it did well enough. And also, probably they didn't want to bring back Jean-Claude Van Damme. Bison does his speech and just talking about all the stuff he's going to do, and all the hostages are going to be killed, all these great things he's going to do. At one point earlier in the movie, he says his Bison bucks, he has his face on $50 bills. It's going to be worth, it's going to be worth 5 times the normal British currency, because he's going to kidnap the Queen of England. Because why the fuck wouldn't he say that? Why the fuck not? So, and then he does the line from the video game, anyone who opposes me will be destroyed. Everybody separates, and they're fighting the soldiers, or characters are fighting each other in like multiple locations. It's incredible. I have no idea how they managed to keep even a sliver of coherency. Not the movie Sliver. That was a very odd movie. But they, Guile and Bison are fighting, and then Bison gets put on, the electrical thing, and doing all that. And then he gets magnetism, and he has boots that glow, and then he does this, and then he does this, and then he does this, and then he does that, and he's trying to, knock down Guile. Well, Ken and Ryu battle Sagat and Vega, and and then he does the whole thing for I beheld Satan and he fell from heaven like lightning. I'm going to try to do it the same way again because my voice is almost shot. DJ tries to get away at one point with a suitcase full of money. Bison gets kicked back and says, Bison, you're off the air, Guile says. He falls into a bunch of TV monitors. It's a wall of TV monitors. It's amazing. And then more explosions. All the explosions in the goddamn world just blow the goddamn sets up. They're worried that Guile's not there. But Guile's fine. They've seen Guile. He's about this tall. And they'll fix City up through the power of friendship, and then they do the poses, and then that's the end. And then we get a post-credit thing where the solar batteries are coming back on. And then Bison bursts his hand through there. And that's it. implying we were going to get a sequel. Sadly, if we did, we would have not been able to get Raul Julia since he did unfortunately pass away shortly after filming wrapped. Rest in peace, Raul Julia. And hey, it was a fun movie. It was stupid, ridiculous, but it was a lot of fun. Bit of a trouble production thanks to Mr. Jean-Claude Van Damme, but certainly enjoyable, especially if you want to look at Kylie Minogue and Ming-Na Wen, who even now look fucking incredible. Anyway, agree, disagree with what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritland. Game over! See you soon.